Salut, Yuki.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Ça va bien. Vous?
Eh, comme ci, comme ça. I'm trying to practice my French lately. I only did it at school, but I think I told you before, France is just that way. It's
Yes.
very close.
Not very far.
No.
Entschuldigen. Kannst du Deutsch? Kannst du Deutsch?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's German. That's
Yeah.
German. And it's not an insult to a Frenchman, really.
Yuki's not French, but
Oh.
Quebec, Canada.
This, my wife brought back to me from Japan when she visited my daughter in Hokkaido.
it's nice.
Wonderful.
I was just doing it was Sekushi. I was doing Shakyo sutra copying with Glasgow Zen Center earlier. Hi, Sekushi. And he was showing us this he went to a Zen temple in Tokyo, and they have this kind of booklet with 12 different bodhisattvas. And every time you go there and do sutra copying, they like put a stamp on one of them. And it's like, you just sort of collect them. It was just really, really lovely. It's nice to see you, Sekushi.
Well, we had the tea house earlier, so I figured if I did a bunch of talking, then I should probably do some Tonglen afterwards.
It's nice as well. So I don't know about you. It's nice to you probably most of the things you turn up to are things you're leading or supporting. So it's sometimes nice just to turn up to something. Hi, Nico.
The man who did the evaluation was named Dr. Kim, and I believe he may come from Korea. He had a Korean accent and bowed to me.
Well, that's nice. Tiffany, have you sat Tonglen before? You can hang on.
Yes, but not with this group.
Would you like me to run through what we do before we start?
That would be fantastic if there's enough time.
No, that's absolutely fine. It's not long and convoluted. So anyway, we're top of the hour, so welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming to our regularly scheduled Sunday dose of Tonglen. And yeah, it never hurts to go over the instructions. So as you all know, Tonglen is a Tibetan practice. It's part of Lojong mind training, in which we aim to take everything that happens or everything that presents to us in our life as part of the path. And what Tonglen does is it turns on its head the usual human desire to clutch hold of everything we like for ourselves and push away everything we dislike. And instead, we take the role of a bodhisattva and we breathe in the suffering of others and we breathe out loving kindness, joy, metta, peace to them. And the way we do this is we visualize suffering, often in the form of black smoke. And the instruction is normally given as breathing that in, but I always find that visualization to be quite a harsh one in terms of breathing in black smoke. And especially if people have got asthma or other breathing related conditions. So another way I've been taught that I tend to use is you breathe it straight in through your chest to where your heart center would be, and have it go straight into the heart. And then as it goes in on the in-breath, you let it transform. What happens is we have a heart full of love, and when love meets suffering, it's transformed into loving kindness. And the way my Tibetan teacher taught it to me is all of the four, what do you call them, Brahma Viharas, or four immeasurable qualities, all result from love. So metta is love itself. When love meets suffering, it's transformed into loving kindness. When love meets joy, it's turned into sympathetic joy. And when love meets any condition, it's transformed into equanimity, because we just, whatever happens, we just meet it with love. So it doesn't matter if it's bad, or we'd normally perceive it as bad or good. When we've got an open heart and a heart full of loving kindness, then there's that equanimity towards everything. We just open our heart to everything. As I said, in this practice, what we're doing is, it's often hard to think of the suffering of others, and we naturally can recoil from it. It's hard. We know that, especially in these times, we're beamed into our house on the TV, pictures of suffering, from all around the world. We see the situation in Haiti. We see the people trying to escape from Afghanistan, the situation in Myanmar, and just all around the world, wildfires up the west coast of America and into British Columbia. We just see all of that, and that can be really hard to be with. And what Tonglen does is it gives us a structure around which we can meet suffering, both our own and that of others. Just as Shikantaza itself is a structure, just sitting in that posture and saying, I'm going to sit here until the bell rings, is a structure to meet whatever arises. In a similar way, Tonglen gives us a structure to meet suffering and to be able to deal with it. And as I don't say often here, but I've said in the forum, as well as having this structure in this formal sitting practice, Tonglen can also be used kind of on the go. So if we're watching the TV and we see pictures from a war zone or a natural disaster, we can just straight away go into that practice of breathing in the suffering and sending out metta and loving kindness. Or if we see, we're in the street and we see something bad happening, somebody having a medical emergency, a fight, an argument between some people, again, we can use this practice. So the core of the practice is breathing in the suffering as black smoke, and then breathing out the white light of metta. So at Treeleaf, there's a number of different ways that different people do this as a formal practice, and we've devised a method here where we start off with 10 minutes of normal Zazen, just to bring ourselves into the here and now and just be in our bodies. Then we have 5 minutes of taking and sending for ourselves. So we're dealing with our own suffering first. As Jundo often says, for the metta practice, you put your own face mask on before you start worrying about the face mask of others. Then we do 10 minutes for a particular sentient being or group of sentient beings for the Tonglen. So often in the past 18 months, we've been looking at people affected by COVID, but you can pick anything you like. And for the final 5 minutes, just as we do in the metaverses, we widen our practice to include all sentient beings. And I will ring a bell at each transition and remind you of what stage it is we're going into. So at the very beginning, just with our normal Shikantaza practice here, I'll ring the bell 3 times, and then each transition I'll ring it once. So thank you very much for coming, and we'll get started. And one thing I did forget to say is the visualization is only important in that it connects you to the emotions and the feelings. So it connects you with people's suffering. So, and again, the sending out of white light is only important in that it makes you feel like your heart's opening and you're sending metta. But if something else works for you instead, then feel free to use that. These are not set in stone. For the next 5 minutes, we do taking and sending for our own self. We breathe in or take in our own suffering, our pain, struggles, difficulties, and we send loving kindness to ourselves. For the next 10 minutes, we work with our chosen sentient being or group of sentient beings for the evening or whatever time it is with you. Whether it be people suffering from COVID, natural disasters, a friend who's struggling at the moment, whatever you choose. For the last 5 minutes, we widen our circle of practice to include all sentient beings, whether they're people dealing with sickness, loss, war, other struggles, animals who are sick, wounded, hunted, afraid, and sentient beings that we even can't see or don't know about. We include all of them. We end as usual with the verse of atonement and the 4 vows. All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable. Thank you all so much for coming, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.